Hello there, fifth grade. It is a Wednesday, the 25th of March, and it is our language time. So if you will get your language books out and turn to page 107 and 109, just want to remind you that when you do see the title on YouTube of a particular lesson, to make sure you have all your supplies ready before you turn it on, because it'll just help you be set, because I'm going to get started right away. All right, so just make sure that you're prepared for that. Okay, so today we're comparing adjectives. I'm on page 107, and it says adjectives can show how one person or thing compares to another. So if we see the picture on the top there, we're looking at flowers. Okay, the first one is one singular flower, just one flower, and he's saying, I am tall. The picture next to it has two flowers, and it says, I am taller than you. Okay, so the pink one is taller than the yellow one. Then in the third picture, we have three flowers, and it says, I am the tallest flower of all. So we see here, not comparing anything, just saying I am tall. Then the larger flower, the pink flower, is comparing itself to the yellow flower, and he says, I am taller than you. And then the purple flower up here says to the other two, to the pink one and the yellow one, I am the tallest flower of all. So the word tall is an adjective in all three of those sentences, and you can use an adjective to compare in three different degrees. There are 3 degrees of comparisons with adjectives, and that's what we're going to learn about today, how to compare adjectives and the 3 degrees. Now, if you look at the board, I've written what you have here: the positive, the comparative, and the superlative. Now, as we go over these, make sure that you look at the picture, the illustration, because that will help you understand what is being compared. Okay? Now, it says adjectives have 3 degrees of comparison. The positive, have that on the top, the comparative, and the superlative. Okay? So let's look at each of these and look at the picture next to it. In the positive degree, nothing is being compared. No ending is added to an adjective to form the positive. So in the picture, the positive and the picture next to it just says Spot is a smart dog. So you see Spot there, he's got his computer, he's got his books. Look at that book, it says Logic. He's a smart guy, he's got his coffee, he's got it going on, all right? Positive, Spot is a smart dog, okay? In the comparative degree, the picture below that, in the comparative degree, 2 people or things, in this case dogs, are being compared. To form the comparative, add ER to the end of a 1-syllable adjective. Use more or less before an adjective of 2 or more syllables. Well, this adjective is the word smart, so it's 1 syllable. So we don't need to add the words more or less to it. We simply write, if you look at the board and in your book, Spot is smarter than Rex. Okay, we're comparing Spot to Rex. Now look at Spot. He's doing some kind of math problem there. He's got all kinds of things doing on, circumference of a circle, etc. And look at Rex. Rex wrote 2 + 2 = 5. Think about that for a minute. So, pretty silly. Spot is definitely smarter than Rex. Okay, so first degree of comparison with adjectives is the positive. Spot is a smart dog. Not comparing Spot to anything, to any other dog. Comparative, comparing one thing to another thing. So our definition, 2 people or things are being compared. The example, Spot is smarter than Rex. And you have the ER as the ending. So you have to add ER to the ending. Smarter, faster, stronger, whatever you're comparing, okay? Then the last one, in the superlative degree, 3 or more people or things are being compared. To form the ending, add EST to the end of a 1-syllable adjective. Use most or least before an adjective of 2 or more syllables. We're going to talk more about that in the future. So in the superlative, Spot is the smartest dog that we own. Smartest, you add the EST. So, look at the picture. You have Spot. He's out there on his beanbag chair. He's got his iced tea. He's reading his book. There's Rex scratching himself. And then that looks like, my parents had a dog named Daphne. That looks like Daphne, who's just loving looking at the fly. Not a care in the world. These two ain't too bright, right? Spot's got it going on. So Spot is indeed the smartest dog that we own. So let's look at that again. 3 degrees of comparison with adjectives. The positive, not comparing anything or anyone to anything else or anyone else. The comparative, 2 people or things are being compared. Spot is smarter than Rex. Superlative, 3 or more people or things are being compared. Spot is the smartest dog that we own. All right? Is that good? Do you have a general idea? So let's look at page 108. Okay? Page 108 says, think A. The following sentences are correct. They're giving us examples. Read them, noticing the correct use of adjectives used to make comparisons. Notice the spelling of the adjectives in numbers 2, 3, and 4. So these are all correct. Look at number 1. That route or route is longer than this one. Okay, comparing one route or route to another. You can pronounce those either ways. That's why I'm saying route or route. Okay, so that's, which degree is that? Good, the comparative degree. Number 2. Do you know what kind of whale is the largest of all? Largest, what degree is that? Superlative. You are combining all of the whales together. Which one is the largest of all? Number 3, the waves seem choppier than usual today. Today's waves to usual waves. Now, the reason that that's not superlative, it's not saying they're the choppiest of all. They're saying compared to most waves. So they're putting that in one group. All the other waves in one group and the waves today. Okay? So that's only comparing 2 things. Number 4, a white star is hotter than a red star, comparing the white star to the red star. Comparative degree, ER at the end. Number 5, which of the 4 Gospels is the longest, comparing 3 or more? 4 is 3 or more, right? Number 6, the polished gymnasium floor was shiny. I'm going to go back to number 6 in a minute. The polished gymnasium floor was shiny. It's positive. You're not comparing it to any other floor. You're just making a statement, like Spot is a smart dog. You're saying the gymnasium floor is shiny. Okay? Number 7, of Tim, Jason, and Sarah, Tim is the most accurate speller. Okay? You use most in front of accurate. Why? Because accurate is more than 1 syllable. Okay, the most accurate speller, comparing 3 people, Tim, Sarah, and Jason. Number 8, which of the books by Laura Ingalls Wilder did you find the most interesting? Okay, most interesting. Books. She's written more than 2 books, obviously, so it's superlative. Of the twins, Brady is the more studious, comparing the twins, Brady and whoever his twin is. Okay, so that is comparative. You use the word more, because studious is more than 1 syllable. Remember, we use more or most in front of words that are more than 1 syllable. And number 10, the strawberry pie is delicious. Positive. We're not comparing strawberry to like banana cream or cherry. Just positive. We're only talking about one kind of pie, not comparing it. So those are some examples of how to use this accurately. Now look closely. It says like 1-syllable adjectives, some 2-syllable adjectives form the comparative and superlative degrees by adding ER or EST to the positive. Check a dictionary to be sure you are forming the comparisons of 2-syllable words correctly, okay? So you wouldn't use more or most in front of these. For example, friendly, okay? You wouldn't say friendlier, you wouldn't say more friendlier. Or most friendliest. You just say friendlier or friendliest. So we've talked before in the English language that there'll be particular rules, but then they can change. And that's what makes English a difficult language for people who don't speak English as their primary language to learn, because the rules change here and there. Okay, so they're telling you in order to do that, you should probably look in a dictionary if you're not sure. So let's look at that one more time. It says like one syllable adjectives, some two syllable adjectives form the comparative and superlative by adding ER or EST. You don't have to add the more or the most. Like I said, you wouldn't say more friendlier or most friendliest, okay? It can stand alone in its own. So if you're not sure, look in a dictionary to see if you need to use more or most, or you can use just add the ER or EST like regular one syllable words, okay? So let's look at think B. If it says if an adjective ends in Y, change the Y to I before adding the ER or the EST. So the word tiny ends in Y. So tiny would be the positive. The comparative would be tinier, TINIER, because it ends in a Y. You drop the Y and add IER. And then the superlative would be tiniest, TINIEST. Drop the Y and add IEST. Okay? So you could probably do heavy on your own. Same principle, drop the Y, add IER. Heaviest, drop the Y and add IEST. Now let's look at number 2. If the adjective ends with a short vowel sound before the final consonant, then double the final consonant before adding ER or EST. In other words, red, you double the final consonant, which is a D. So you'd write redder, REDDER, and reddest, REDDEST. Okay? So let's do that again. If the adjective ends with a short vowel sound before the final consonant, red, not E, red, short E, then double the final consonant before adding ER or EST. You learned a lot of these principles in like 1st and 2nd grade. We're just using them now with adjectives. So red becomes redder, double the D, REDDER, and reddest, REDDEST. Okay? I didn't want to... I want to give you at least one example of each, and you do the second one on your own, okay? So now, for adjectives ending in E, like noble and nice, it says drop the E before adding ER or EST. So for noble, it's not going to be NOBLEER, not going to be 2 E's. You just drop the E and add ER, just 1 E, not EE. So it would be NOBLER. And NOBLEST, not double E's, okay? So follow the directions on that. All right, so that's page 108. You can finish that on your own. And then on page 109, I just want you to follow the directions. It says whenever you use ER or EST, make sure you state what you are comparing. Jake is the best. The best what? Okay? The best speller in our class would be correct. You can't just say Jake is the best. Now, when we're talking to each other, I could say you're the best, but here they're talking about in comparisons. Okay, remember we speak differently than we write. Amy is the happiest today. Happiest of what? What's she happy about? Amy is the happiest girl in her class today is correct. So they're giving you the examples. I'm just reading to you what you have here on the top of your paper. And then so it says, rewrite each of these incomplete comparisons on notebook paper, making them complete. So you can write right under that if you can fit it in there. My book's a lot smaller than yours, so I can't. But if you have space under the water rose higher, you can just write it right under that. You don't need to use notebook paper for that. So what they want you to do is the water rose higher than what? You could say like the water rose higher today than yesterday. Okay, you need to give me a comparison. Number 2, the emperor's new clothes were supposedly the finest. Now that's superlative. You're comparing 3 or more things. So the emperor's new clothes were supposedly the finest in the whole kingdom. Give me something that you are comparing it to in the superlative form. Number 3, the plains are much flatter. Flatter. Comparative. Flatter than what? Compare it to something else. Number 4, Sunday was the nicest day. Nicest, superlative. Nicest day of what? Need to compare 3 or more days. Number 5, my grades were better. Better than what? last quarter, last year. Okay, so that's comparative. How do I know that? Ins and ER, right? You're comparing one thing to another, your grades from one time to another time. All right, and it says remember, in the remember section, write correct in the blank if the sentence has no pronoun or verb form error. This is review. If the sentence has a wrong pronoun or verb form, write the correction in the blank. Do not add or delete helping verbs. So make sure you don't do that. If they have helping verbs in there, do not delete them. If they don't, you can't put one in there. All right, you know how to do this. We do this a lot. All right, so if you have any questions, refer back to your book, look at your examples. I know you're going to do great, and I will talk to you soon when we continue to study modifiers. All right, God bless you. Have a good day.